Welcome to the Dave Palma Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Palma.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palma Show. And with me, I have someone who went from near-death crash to World Championship again. My guest today is a 23-year personal trainer, coach, ultra-endurance athlete, and speaker who loves to inspire and coach people to reach their full potential in spite of massive obstacles. Scott McDermott, welcome to the Dave Palma Show.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here as well, Scott. Great to have you here as well. And yeah, I'm sure there's some things we can share. A few things that we do similarly, like coaching. Obviously, I used to be an ex-runner, more middle distance and endurance. Well, it's still endurance, but less endurance than what you did. But you've got a story to tell with that as well. Because initially, in your early days, you wasn't really a fit guy, was you? You wasn't into this. What was you doing before? And tell us your story about how you came all these obstacles we're going to tell the audience today.
Yeah, for sure. I got into architecture through the advice of a counselor in high school, and they were just like, "Oh, you're really good at drafting. You should do this." And I didn't know what I should do with my life, so I got into architecture, and I was quite good at it. I made my way up to kind of middle management and stuff like that, but long hours trying to be junior partner had made me fat and sick and stressed and unfit and living on caffeine and all that crap. And I got to 29 years old and I was, 240 pounds, 100 kilos kind of thing, 110 kilos.
What?
240 pounds. Yeah. About 110 kilos and just really not healthy at all. I would excitedly go skiing. I would ski one run and I was so exhausted I had to stop and rest for it. It was awful. And I had all kinds of health issues that could never be explained. I had tinnitus ringing in my ears. I had terrible circulation. I was exhausted all the time. I had allergies like crazy. I had bad circulation. My back was sore all the time. I broke my back in high school in a gymnastics accident, but obviously by 29 it had healed, but it was just sore all the time.
Right.
I would shovel the snow on the driveway. I'm from Canada. And I would have to lay on the couch for 2 hours with painkillers. Like it just sucked. And I went to a doctor and said, look, this is ridiculous. He would say, well, we'll go see an eye, ear, nose, and throat specialist. And you wait 3 months and you get in to see the specialist. And you do all his things. You go, no, it's not that. Go back to your doctor. Okay. And then I would get this scan and that scan and this test and that test. And after a year, nobody knew why I was a mess. And so I finally said to my doctor, I'm like, look, doc, this sucks. Like, I can't keep living this way. There's got to be something. And so he did a physical and he started asking me a bunch of questions and like really listening. And he was like, well, geez, kid, you're none of your numbers are good at all. He's like, you can't keep living this way. You need to start to eat right and you need to exercise and you need to get rid of some stress and you got to get some sleep. Like you can't run your body this way or you're not going to make it to 30. And it just hit me.
1 year. It's not 1 year.
Yeah, it just hit me. I thought, holy crap, he's right. Because people say, well, I have a sweet tooth. No, I have 32 of them. I would, Fruit Loops for breakfast or, I loved sugar and I was just an idiot. I didn't know how to feed myself. I ate what I enjoyed and I had dessert at every single meal, including snacks. So I went and joined a gym and I just completely about-faced my whole life. I met a trainer who was a friend of mine that I knew was into fitness and health, and we started training together. And in 5 months, I dropped 40 pounds of fat and put on 18 pounds of muscle and was in the best shape of my life. I went from Pillsbury Doughboy to six-pack. And
what space of time was this?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just everything.
Just in case anyone who doubts themselves, it can be done in that space of time.
Yeah. It was 100% focus. And I just started eating good food. I gave up the junk. I started doing, I just became a student of nutrition and exercise and I just loved it. And the funny thing was at the start, you know, I'm in a 50-person architectural firm and everybody knows I'm the junk food guy. And all of a sudden I'm eating all this healthy stuff. And they're like, yeah, you're not going to make it a week. And they would like bake cupcakes and bring me, oh, come on, have a cupcake. They'd try to knock me off course. And it just steeled my resolve. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm up to something else. And then after about 2 or 3 months, people would come up to my office, to my desk in my cubicle, and they'd be like, so how did you do that? You're looking good. Like, you know, the people, so pretty soon, like out of 52 people in the office, like 45 people were on the plan. Like it just spread. Everybody was all of a sudden getting fit and healthy, and it was fantastic. And I just thought, I love this. I love coaching and helping people to be fit and healthy. I want to pass on because I felt so amazing. So yeah, 2 weeks before I was an associate partner in the firm, I quit. I went to work in a gym part-time as a trainer because I got
this reaction there. Because, I mean, that's quite a serious kind of job to leave, just be not just become a fitness trainer. Obviously, I'm coaching now into fitness as well. But I managed to do it on my days off as a firefighter, which is easy to do because you get more time off than architects.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I was working 100 hours a week, and I was, it was crazy. I was trying to be junior partner. I thought that's what I wanted, right? You know, you get options and bonuses and benefits and blah, 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 and you know, and I was like, I'm at the top.
Do that as a second job.
No, I was like, I'm at the top of the ladder on the wrong building. I gotta jump off. And
if I did that as a firefighter, we'll be in trouble.
Right? Yeah. Dave, you're on the wrong building.
Whoa. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's a good analogy, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And my boss was shocked. He was, you know, flabbergasted and all of that. And are you sure? And he just could see it in my eyes. Like I just said, his name was Ron. I'm like, Ron, I love you guys. You're a great boss. It's a great place. And there's nothing, this isn't what I meant to do with my life. And as much as I'm good at it, I don't love it. And I just can't be here anymore. And he's like, I understand. And so I left. I came back and worked for them for a year on contract because I couldn't pay the bills as a trainer. But
initially.
Yeah. And then I built my own gym. In 2002, I opened my own gym. I worked as an assistant manager in a gym and a trainer as a gym and I did front desk sales, and I did all of the jobs you could do. And then I was like, okay. And I found found a spot of land and borrowed some money from family in the bank and remortgaged my house and built a business and ran it.
Going?
It's like any business, it had its time. I did it for 18 years, and we had some phenomenal, huge, successful years. And then it changed, like as it shifted and grew and evolved. And we did an addition. We became 15,000 square foot, started out 10,000. We added a 5,000 square foot addition to the building because we were doing so well. Then another big box gym opened in our little town because they were like, whoa, Scott's crushing it. Let's just jump in. And so
that's what they do.
So that
competition.
Right. Which competition is ultimately good because they became a comparative, because honestly, they didn't do as good a job as we did. So people were able to go, oh, Scott's gym is better than that gym. But they were cheaper. And they were 24 hours, and we didn't want to go 24 hours, which eventually we did. We caved in, went 24 hours, which helped. But the gym industry started to change. Big box gyms became the thing, and cheap. And it's like, well, I'm just a one-off family gym. I can't charge $20 a month for a gym membership. We're 45. Like I can't pay the bills at 20. And you get the big gym philosophy, which is, well, if we have 5,000 members and most of those losers never come, we're going to be in good shape. It's like, that's not how I ran my gym. Like,
no, it's not,
so
more personal touch.
Yeah.
But
it was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of great people and help a lot of great people. And I had phenomenal staff, and that came and went too. Sometimes you have a jerk staff, but when that happens, but it's a high stress environment. You're running a business, and running a business is not for the faint of heart.
It's a different job altogether, isn't it? It's actually being an entrepreneur, isn't it, really? Business person.
Absolutely. It's tough.
Skills are generic in a way, aren't they?
Well, you have to be all of the things, right? You have to be a manager and a technician and a marketer, and like you have to be all the things, and it's relentless.
I guess if you were going for a partnership in the architect firm, then you was heading that way anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of where your drive was anyway. Whichever industry you was in.
It just became in alignment with what I wanted to do with my life, which was to help people. But the ironic thing was, as a business owner, I never had time to coach people anymore. I was able to coach staff, fix things, market, do human resources and payroll and pay taxes and meet with the accountant and,
turn up on time.
I didn't get to train clients. That was a luxury I didn't get to do, which I missed.
That's a huge thing now. Especially during the pandemic, but in the pandemic, I know that's when the gym actually shut down. Was that planned or was it the pandemic thing? Because gyms probably the one hard, apart from travel industry and hospitality, gyms was the hardest hit. Casualties of pandemic lockdowns.
Yeah, no, it was not planned at all. We'd had a couple of years of things getting tougher and tougher. We had a really big box gym, one of the biggest in Canada, open 15 minutes from us and charged nothing a month. And so that was really tough to compete against and stuff. And so we had a couple of 2 or 3 years of really tough go. And then on March 17th, 2020, we got the word from our provincial leaders that all gyms had to close, everything had to close. And so we had to shut down the gym and send everybody home. And I had to lay off all my staff. And at first I was like, okay, well, we're going to make online home videos and we're going to do an online home program. We're going to do a 6-week challenge you can do in your basement. And I'll do videos every day from the studio. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? So
it seems to work for yoga. It seems to work very, very well. And also they can do it outdoors with people, because outdoors is a little bit acceptable with COVID.
Yeah,
with gyms it's not.
I had all this equipment, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized, for 2 days I did the math. I met with my accountant, I met with my bookkeeper, I took an Excel spreadsheet, and I just did all the math. I'm like, okay, we've lost all of our members. Like all that income has stopped, right?
Yeah.
We can't sell supplements, we can't sell tanning, we can't sell anything. That's all dead.
Well, not even online.
Yeah. No,
wait.
I mean, you can't pick at the time in March, you couldn't pick it. It was the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at my hard costs, like what's my mortgage every month? What's my heat, my light, like the stuff the taxes, the stuff that can't go away, that can't be deferred. Right. And it was 13 grand a month to sit empty. Whoa. And I was like, okay.
That's Canadian dollars.
Canadian dollars, yeah.
Which is about £1,000. Sorry. Half of that in pounds. I don't know what that is in dollars.
So 7,000 pounds a month empty with no income. And I thought, okay, even if all these online programs I'm doing are unicorn, fairy dust, top of the world, magically successful, and I did the math on that. Like, what if I could charge more than possible and had everybody do it and the math still didn't work? And I was like, this is done. I can't, because they said, well, 14 days to flatten the curve. And I'm sorry. I was like, there's no chance this is 14 days.
It's still going on now, isn't it?
I know. Yeah. They're like, there's no chance this is 14 days.
It's another wave coming again. I think the gym is going to be in trouble with this new one. This new one very coming now. It's apparently instead of doubling every 2-3 weeks, doubling every 2-3 days. And so it's spreading.
But it's also way less impactful. Like it's, the scientists are saying it's like an annoying cold. So I don't know. Anyway, that's politics, really. It's gone past medicine into politics. Because to my mind, even at the start, I was like, I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings and Hobbit fan, but it was like handing Gollum the golden ring and saying, I'm just going to lend it to you for 14 days. My process. Like, he's never giving that back. When you hand the politicians control, they're not giving that back.
I think it's a bit like that film Sister Act, where she had to give that $1 million check. She didn't want to really give it.
Yeah.
She wasn't really a nun, was she?
No, exactly.
She's got to want to take the next homeless. But anyway, so without digressing too much, we can come along with how you dealt with that, how other people deal with the mindset around getting over period. You know, university, because that is quite recent, something that's going on now for people.
Oh yeah.
But let's talk about another thing. Going winding back to fit days is that you took up endurance training. And you also had some adversities there. So go from the beginning again, from when you got fit and your journey into the triathlon days and the ups and downs that you had.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I had gotten really fit and it was excellent and I loved it. And I was very much into functional training, and I didn't get into bodybuilding, but that side of sort of a realm where looking good and all those fun things. And I really enjoyed lifting weights and challenging myself. And I taught indoor cycling classes and I really enjoyed that. And then there was a half Ironman triathlon in our town. So a 1900 meter swim, a 90K bike, and a 21K half marathon. And I thought, geez, I wonder if I could finish one of those. Like, I mean, I could put off drowning. Like I had gone water skiing and you fall off and you tread water till the boat gets there. Like I'd never swam laps or swam in a lake distance, but I thought, well, I can swim, and I could ride the crap out of an indoor stationary bike for an hour. And I used to run in high school before I broke my back, but my back was healed and I was fit and strong. I could probably pick up running again. I wonder if I could finish one of those. So I just got it in my head that was my next challenge. And so in September of 2004, I hired a coach, and he taught me to swim properly and taught me to run a little better. And I did the half Ironman in July of 2005, and I was 8th over in my age category and 20th overall. And I just crushed it. I just had like the single greatest time. And I got a roll down spot for the full Ironman Canada 5 weeks later. So I doubled all my distances for 3 weeks, and I did Ironman Canada. I'd never run a marathon in my life. And I did a marathon after a 4K swim and a 180K bike. And I did a sub 12-hour Ironman, and I just loved it. I just loved it. It was like, oh, I guess I'm changing everything again. And I was just hooked, 100% hooked. So I just trained for that exclusively, and I loved Ironman triathlon. I became nationally certified as a coach for triathlon. And again, just started learning all over again in a new direction and just passionately chasing that dream. And in 2008, actually, I qualified to join Team Canada and represent the country going to the World Championships in Holland for the World Long Course. So I did that. And the next year I went to the World Championships in Australia, and I raced in all over the States, Miami and New Orleans and all over Canada. So I was doing all this racing. It was super fun. And then I was training for 2010 Ironman Canada, and I was having lunch with a friend of mine, Cheryl, and there was a guy from Australia, Nick Mallet, was there having lunch, and we were chatting it up. And he's like, mate, you got to give Ultraman a try. And I was like, shut up. Those guys are nuts. And I won't wreck his Australian accent anymore, but he basically said, well, think about it. Like, once you get swimming, you get in a zone. If somebody fed you electrolytes once in a while, you could just keep swimming. I was like, well, yeah, 10 kilometers is a long swim. He goes, yeah, but you got a kayak support. It's a long swim. And he says, you can ride 145K, no problem. And I says, well, the next day is 275K. You got a 12-hour cutoff. That's a hustle over 2 mountain ranges. Like, some of the climbing in Ultraman is really substantial. And he goes, yeah, but you're a strong cyclist. I mean, you did Ride to Survive. You did 400 kilometers in one day over 2 mountain ranges. And so you could, I know you could do the 275. I'm like, yeah, but come on. Day 3 is a double marathon, 84.5 kilometers. Like, come on. Running is just a big suffer fest. And he goes, yeah, but think about it. You run your first marathon in a slow 4 hours, because you can run a 3:20. So run a 4-hour slow marathon, take it easy, take a little break, have something to eat, and then run. And then you can walk the second marathon in 7-8 hours. You'll still be done under 12. You're going to be a finisher. And I was like, he's right. I signed up the next week. I went and talked to my wife, and I signed up, and I did Ultraman Canada in 2011, and I was 6th overall, 20 minutes from second place.
Wow.
I found my new race, and I just loved it.
New event.
Yeah, my new, like, wait, you can suffer even more?
Yeah.
I'm in. So then I made it to, I qualified for the World Championships. So I went to Kona, Hawaii in 2013, a year after my son was born. And I did the World Championships, and I was 21st overall, and I just had the best time of my life. But I felt like I felt like a kindergarten kid in a high school. I'm like, "Whoa, look at all these guys are real athletes. I'm just this goofball. Like I don't fit in here. I just felt I had that whole imposter syndrome thing going on where I was like, what am I doing here? These guys are legit and I'm just me. But I did pretty well. I was 21st in the world. And I thought, okay, I'm going to come back again and I'm going to really race this. So I set my sights on coming back in 2015 and I started training really hard. And I got to the race in 2015. I'd hired a new coach who was phenomenal, Craig Percival, out of Australia, who's unfortunately passed away due to a knee surgery. Element, actually, it's a week ago. Is the anniversary of his passing. Which
knee surgery.
Yeah, he had a blood clot. Yeah, blood clot set free and went into his heart and his brain and lungs. And it was just it. It sucked. Yeah, it's awful. You hate to think that kind of stuff can still happen, but I mean, it does, right? But Craig was an amazing coach, and he had really brought me to new levels of performance and strength and power. And so in 2015, I came out of day one 14th overall, and on day two, midway through the bike, I was 10th overall in hunting number 9. I was gaining on him, and I was crushing it. And I was going down a bit of a mountainside ravine area in a little bit of rain at about, well, my Garmin watch says 69.4 kilometers an hour, so just under 70K an hour, 45 miles an hour. And apparently there was algae on the bridge deck, and my wheel slid out to the right, and I cartwheeled down the highway till I stopped. And I sprained some fingers, sprained my wrist, broke my arm in half, shattered my shoulder in 4 pieces, broke 5 ribs, busted the cartilage out of my knee, and I broke my skull open. I had whiplash, and I carved the side of my face open, but I broke my skull open, and it was...
Just that alone enough. Just saying that alone is enough.
I kind of stopped living for a moment.
It's kind of like $6 million man almost.
I mean,
if anyone remembers that show, I'm sure you
I totally do. Yeah. I'm 52, so I remember that show.
I'm 57 actually.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so it was bad. It was a big deal. Peter Hudson and Adam Fox from Australia, 2 athletes that I had just recently passed, they jumped to the ground and got me breathing again and held me in recovery position and took care of me and convinced me, like to stay alive kind of thing, and called for 911 with their crew. And, and in the middle of their world championships, another guy too, Gary Wang from US, he stopped traffic, and those 3 guys stayed by my side, didn't move for 40 minutes until the ambulance got there. In the middle of their world championships, they didn't leave. And they could have, their crew was there. They could have carried, amazing. That's what I love about Ultraman is, the Hawaiian word for family is ohana, and it's huge. And so I got my way to the hospital and woke up 3 days later in the brain trauma unit in Oahu going, where am I? And my best friend had come across to the other island to stay, and he slept in a hospital chair for 3 days because my wife had our 1-year-old. Like, she couldn't just grab and jet to another island. Like, she didn't have anything prepared to do that. And it was just insane. But there I was, all smashed into pieces and slurring my words and not sure what was going on. So yeah, that's the next phase of the story.
Yeah. I suppose it could have cost about $6 million to get you fixed again. You're good analogy again there, isn't it?
Right? Yeah, no joke. It was my medical bill for the US was $184,000 US. And I got back to Canada, and they didn't x-ray my arm far enough up to realize it was broken in half. And they said my shoulder would heal on its own, but it was shattered. They totally missed the cartilage chunk and the torn MCL on my knee. And they said, well, you got a bit of concussion. And I got back to Canada, and I went to my doctor, and I was like, I really don't feel good. And my shoulder was dropped at a bad angle, and I couldn't pronate or supinate my left hand. And I was like, doc, something's, I don't know, can we get this checked out? So we went in for x-rays. I went to the hospital, and they x-rayed them, and the x-ray tech comes out. She's like, you need to go to emergency. You need surgery, like right now. Like, your arm's broken in half. Like, did you know that? I was like, no. So,
I guess it's unlike the US system, Canadian systems like UK, it's free and it's kind of...
It's not free, but We pay through it through taxes, but yes.
Yeah, we pay for taxes as well, so it's that kind of thing. But you don't have to worry about the hospital bill, basically. No. So that's the problem with the US is that it's more of a marketplace, and they still probably won't get the job done.
Well,
it's ultra rich.
Yeah, it's pluses and minuses. Like the plus of the U.S. system is it's not overloaded in many senses. Like I've had friends that have had a knee injury and they had an MRI in the afternoon and surgery 4 days later.
That's right.
Canada, he had to pay for it. It was like 20 grand. Okay, but it's done. Canada, sure, it's free, but it might take you 4 or 5 months or 3 months to get an MRI, and then it's going to take you a year and a half to get in for surgery.
Yeah.
So
even more so now in the pandemic, there's like UK, there's a big list of
yeah,
people waiting for hip surgeries and stuff like that. Routine surgeries.
Yeah, unless you're bleeding from the neck, you wait. Yeah, it's tragic, but is what it is. I got all fixed up. They put metal in my shoulder and metal in my arm, and they were really concerned about my brain injury. I had a neurologist, and then I had CAT scans and MRIs and deep level CAT scans, and they said, "Wow, you have one of the worst brain injuries you can get. You've got a diffuse axonal injury, which is where the white matter and gray matter actually tear apart." And I had hemorrhaging, bleeding to the frontal lobes, and I had a point impact to the base where my skull broke open. And they're like, the fact that you can see and hear is a miracle, and the fact that you're cognizant is, like, all of our medical textbooks say you should be a vegetable. So it's a miracle, really. And it was. And I had whiplash, all the things. I don't know if you know this, there's gravel in your ear that's part of your balance system. So there's the fluid.
I know, helps, but I didn't know it was like a gravel thing. I thought
it's crystals.
No, but it's more hairy.
Well, you're hearing there's the water canals with little little hairs, and that tells you when your head tilts. But there's also a little pocket full of crystals, which is like a balance. I had knocked all my crystals out, and so the crystals were rattling around in the hair, making me really dizzy all the time. So they had to fix that. They had to do this thing called the Epley procedure, which is you go from the world's dizziest human being, from zero to the world's dizziest human being in about 2 seconds. It was awful. Just about
I suppose it's a bit like that level builders use.
It totally is.
It's crystals instead of liquid.
Yeah.
Or like an egg timer kind of thing where it has to be level.
Yeah. So yeah, we got that all fixed up, and then it was just a long recovery road. And I had already set my sights on going back to Ultraman. I didn't know when. I had initially thought I would go back in 2017, but it took longer to recover. I ended up having to have knee surgery, and then I had some other things that had to be solved first. But, long road back, but I made it back to the World Championships in 2018 and was 25th in the world. And
wow.
Pretty stoked about that.
What actually... Because I know a lot of people put off maybe doing that again and stuff like that. But what's going on in my mindset? Say, no, I'm going to still get on and ride it again on a bike, really. But, the saddle ride it again.
I never wavered from that. I always knew I was going to go back, Dave. Like, I love to race, and there's a lot I love about the personal challenge of training. And I knew I needed to go back and finish what I'd started. I knew I needed to be across that finish line again. And, I realized, one of the things I realized too, which was the people that were there and saw me crash had PTSD. Like it was really hard on them. My best friend Lyle, he came around the corner when they figured out I was late getting to, they're like, he should be here by now. So they
was he as well?
No, he was my crew chief.
All right.
So when you do Ultraman, you have a 2-person crew that leapfrogs you around the island in a van. It's a 520
like a caddy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing,
It's UK is miles, right? Not kilometers. Is that right?
We're still using like America. Still using kind of metric. Even more so now with FDE because it came from the European Union. Anyway, let's not get politics again.
Yeah, no. But it's just to convert. So it's a 320-mile course around the island. So you're self-supported. Like, so my buddy Lyle and my friend Doug were my crew, and when Lyle came around the corner of a vehicle and saw me laying in a pool of blood that encompassed the diameter of my body, he's just like, Scott's dead. And he just dropped to his knees and lost it. Like, it was awful. And so every time somebody asked me about the crash or we talked about it, he was just immediately right there thinking his best friend's dead. And it was really hard on him. And and Peter Hudson, who was in aero bars riding and heard this guttural, sickening thud and looked up, and I'm spiraling down the highway, smashing into pieces. He couldn't get on a bicycle for 4 months.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
I mean, when we had the London bombings, the suicide bombing stuff on the trains.
Yeah.
I was in Canada actually, at the World Police Fire Games, like an Olympics for firefighters and police officers. And it happened then. When I got home, which was around the area where it all happened, I was right in the middle of all that. You know, I just walked past, but you know, people were scared to get on the train for a month, and you know, they weren't even involved in it. You know.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to work as a firefighter.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
So even as so much as it was always like my first recovery videos, which I don't remember, but when Lyle filled me in the hospital, I was talking about, well, we'll get back. I'll be back. I'll finish this race. Like that was never a question. But when I started training and I would post a little recovery training of something, I noticed that everybody involved in the crash felt better. Like, and so I thought, you know, I'm not just doing this for me. I'm doing this for all the people that saved my life and were part of that experience. Yeah.
And you still had your gym at the same time doing all this.
Yeah.
Because obviously you only closed last year. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. In 2015, 2016, that was tough too, because our province was in a recession and I was in charge of all the marketing, and all of a sudden I can only be awake an hour and a half at a time, and then I got to sleep for 6 hours, and we were
austerity then, something like that. We were kind of going for a similar thing as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't really nice, really.
No, it was bad. I almost lost my gym a couple times. It was hard.
Yeah. So let's get through kind of mindset thing for our audience. I mean, obviously going through the near-death experience, which obviously was a serious near-death thing, and you know, with the gym going through recession, and obviously now you had to shut it down and transition into more your speaking and coaching now, which is what you're at now, isn't it?
Yeah,
in your book.
Yes.
What would you say the mindset thing is? I mean, I know one thing we relate to each other is the running, and I notice you say endurance is a kind of metaphor for life, endurance running. I've got a boxing friend, a world champion, who came on this show. He said boxing, but I would say sports in general, similar sports like boxing, running, whether it's a mindset thing. With all that said, what would you say is the mindset to deal with what you've had to go through with your body and mind and with the business side of things, going through recession, the pandemic?
Well, there's one of my favorite books is by Ryan Holiday, and it's called The Obstacle is the Way, and it's based on Stoic philosophy, which is that the greatest gift is what the obstacle brings you, but you have to look at it like a gift. And as much as losing my business in 18 years of my life, and you know, my family lost all kinds of money and whatever, we sold off all the equipment and cleaned out the building, and then we had to find somebody to rent the building so that we didn't lose everything, and we just make that happen. And I mean, it's about one of my favorite things to say when something really awful happens is like, great, okay, now what do we do? Like, how do I make this work? What's next? Like, what's the good in this? Because there's got to be somewhere, and sometimes it's really hard to find the good in it. Like, what's the good in the crash? Holy crap! You know, that took a long time to come around, but the good in the crash is not only was I able to use all my tools to get myself back to fit and healthy, but now I can inspire other people to not give up, and that's a huge gift. And and when we lost the gym, it gave me the opportunity to stop doing payroll and human resources and hiring and firing and taxes and accounting and all that crap. And now I just get to help people be fit and healthy. Like I have a 21-day nutrition program that I run all online. And I have helped to date over 300 people drop weight and completely regain their health and fitness. Like one guy's dropped 76 pounds in the last 5 months, and he's just, his whole life is different. And I get to do that now. I get
the thing
to do
is,
that.
that's where kind of people pivot from that industry anyway. It's kind of something online like that. And also they need it. They need that kind of thing, because of the lockdown. You couldn't go to a gym, so they needed it in that kind of format, you know, where it's online and given to them.
Yeah, and it's about, well, okay, I preferred if the world was this way, but it isn't. It's this way.
Yeah,
all right, within this new paradigm, where do I fit? How can I help? How can I help? In this new version, what can I do to serve people? How can I help people in this environment? And I've found that niche, right? I get to do keynote talks. I get to do podcast interviews. I get to coach people online. It's kind of amazing, really. And I mean, I have a beautiful son who is special needs, and so I'm home more. I get to get him up for breakfast every morning and make breakfast for him and my wife and send her off to work and him off to school. And I'm at the end of the driveway at 3:30 in the afternoon every day when he comes home off the bus, and I get a big hug and a smooch, and we get to hang out and play Lego for a little bit, and you know, and then I take him.
Son?
He's 9. Yeah.
Okay. I'm homeschooling a 6-year-old actually.
Yeah. Right. Which is a kind of a gift in a sense. It's harder, but you know, it's just all of these. There's so much good in it if you'll look for it. There's a lot of bad. Like, I'm very concerned about what the planet is doing and what the politicians are up to. Make no mistake, I'm very concerned about what those guys are up to. I don't align with that madness. But
we can talk about it on a politics version.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. I can't control that.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
I
You
can't
can
even
control what you can do. Now.
I can't even influence it. So what I can do is help people be fit and healthy. That I can do. And I can do that really well. And so I love that I get to coach people, and I'm available to them for, you know, I today I got 2 different people sending me images of nutrition labels from the grocery store. Coach, can I have this? What do you think? And I read the ingredients. I'm like, no, it's got this, it's got that. Can you find one that looks like this? Oh, okay. Right. I get to do that now. I get to be that guy. I get to be that coach, and I love it. It's brilliant.
Fantastic.
It's about finding that opportunity in the challenge.
Yeah. So tell the audience where they can find out where you can if they want to take services. You know, where they can sign up for your services.
Sure.
Coaching, or obviously anyone listening could probably contact you for speaking gigs or something like that. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Dave. So my main website I'm rebuilding because I'm not in love with it, which is an ongoing thing. But my 21-day program, I know it's so much work too, but whatever, it is what it is. Websites are hilarious. You get it built, and then within 8 minutes it's out of date and it sucks, but it is what it is. So 21-day nutrition reset is for the 21-day program. So it's the number 21, and then so 21daynutritionreset.com is the 3-week program that you get daily mindset videos. I have a private Facebook group for each different month, and you get coaching from me, unlimited contact. There's a 90-page manual. There's all that kind of stuff. And then my main website is www.scottyfit.com. So SCOTTY fit.com. It's not my favorite website. We're working on it, but those are easy ways to get in touch with me.
Yes.
I've got keynotes I've done some that are an hour and 15 minutes on Zoom. Obviously in person is a lot of fun, but these days seems to be pretty far in between.
Yeah. It's still going on now, really. So we have to get used to it. It's a new normal, as they say. I mean, it'll be more hybrid in the future, I suppose, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm doing that as a coach as well.
Yeah. The number one philosophy that rings true with everything is this too shall pass. And it will. It will pass. It can't sustain. What's going on right now can't be sustained. The truth is coming out more and more every day. That's okay.
Excellent. We'll leave our audience with one mindset tip, before you go, and hopefully, we'll have your show again.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many things. I guess if I was to distill down what's gotten me successful in everything I've done, whether it's my initial challenge to drop weight, or whether it's running the gym, or whether it's recovering from the crash and getting back to the world championships, or whether it's pivoting after losing the gym and building a brand new career, it's this. Everybody know who Babe Ruth is, right? I'm not a baseball guy in person, but you know who Babe Ruth is, right?
we don't do baseball here. We've got cricket.
Is that right? Okay, fair enough. Well, fairly famous baseball player. Again, I'm not a baseball guy either. We play hockey up in Canada, but Babe Ruth was famous for holding the home run record for 40 years. He hit 714 home runs. He was famous for that. And so what people don't realize is Babe Ruth also held the strikeout record. 1,434 strikeouts. And he was at bat almost 9,000 times. So out of 9,000 times he went to bat, he got 714 home runs, and he was one of the best in the world for 40 years. And one of Babe Ruth's sayings is, it's hard to beat a person that never gives up. And that's one of my core things is if you,
good point.
Yeah. One of my things that I teach my students is, AFC NGU, which is action, feedback, correction, never give up. You're going to take some action, whatever it is. You're going to take some action. You're going to get some feedback. Now the feedback's good or not good. And then you're either going to make a correction or you're going to continue. AFC, action, feedback, correct or continue. And you just do that in a circle. And in the middle of the circle it says never give up. And you cannot fail. You can't. As long as you're willing to make a correction, you can never fail. And you got to look at the feedback, right? Because if you're taking action and the feedback is stop doing this and you just keep taking the same action, well, okay. That's just suffering. You have to be willing to correct and listen to feedback.
Excellent.
Never give up.
Scott, that's very fitting listening to your story today, on the show, and very inspiring for my audience. I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing it with me today. So thanks a lot for coming on the show.
You're very welcome, Dave. Thanks for having me. I hope I've inspired somebody out there.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening, and remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. Or head over to my website, davepalmer.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Palmer Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.